Hi guys, thanks for joining me today, and we're going to be going over in the next 5 videos Sergio Garcia's swing. So we're going to analyze his swing from start to finish. I'm going to talk about some things that he does very well, that all great golfers do well, and that you'll also need to learn how to do well if you want to become a phenomenal golfer, for those of you who aren't yet phenomenal golfers and you're working your way there. We're also going to talk about some cause and effect things that he does that may not be ideal. We're going to talk about, for those of you who are coming down and chopping down into the ball a little bit too much, maybe getting a little too steep, a little bit on how to fix that. We're going to talk about some distance, which Sergio Garcia is very good at, averages about 119 miles an hour of clubhead speed. And for a guy that's not a very tall guy, not a very big guy, that's some pretty good clubhead speed. We're going to go over all that and more. I want to thank you for joining me. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so one of the first things we're going to talk about here is balance, and I'm going to give you a great way to measure your balance and your weight distribution. If we draw a line, a vertical line from your right ankle, if you're looking from the down the line view, there's a bone that sticks out on your right ankle called your lateral malleolus. It's just a bone. You feel down on your right ankle, on the outside of your ankle, you definitely feel that bone. Draw a vertical line from there. Draw another line from just behind the chin, and then we can draw a third line on the back of the rear end. And what we're looking for, if we have good balance, is these 3 lines to be evenly spaced. If my weight's too far on my toes, what's going to happen is this back line is going to get closer to the center line, and the front line is going to get farther away from the center line, and then those 3 lines are going to be not evenly spaced. So let me go ahead and show you what that would look like if I had incorrect balance and my weight too far on my toes. It would look something more like this if I drew those same 3 lines. So obviously we can see that Sergio has great balance here. And this is very important for being consistent. If my balance is off, let's say I'm too far on my heels or too far on my toes at address, I'm going to have to be shifting to try to find that balance throughout the swing, which is very difficult to do. So if I go all the way down to impact here, let's go where he hits the ball at impact. There's his impact position. You'll notice that these 3 lines are basically the same. He's shifted a little bit more weight up on the toe, you can see here, but stayed pretty nice and consistent throughout the swing and kept pretty good balance. He maybe just has a little too much on the toes here, which is not something that we would recommend. Also, a little bit spun open here, and we'll get to that later in the Sergio Garcia analysis. We'll get that in the downswing section of this. The next thing I want to draw attention to is the shoulders. So you'll notice that his shoulders are down and back. That's a great feeling. You want to feel like your shoulders are down and back at address, and you're connected to your core. And this is something that we talk about on the rotary swing. And basically that means in your golf swing, your body's going to rotate. So your core here is going to rotate. And if you want to transfer that power out to your arms, you need to have your shoulders connected to the core. It means you need to be activating these little muscles back here on the inside of the shoulder, which are called your rhomboids. That'd be kind of by your shoulder blade. So you can imagine pulling your shoulder blades down and back toward your spine. And that's going to put you in a great position. That's exactly what we can see Sergio doing here. So the next thing that I'd like to talk about on here is axis tilt. And we're going to talk about our setup from face on. So what we can see from this video is that Sergio has very little tilt with his spine at address. So he's pretty vertical with his spine. Now, whenever we're doing this, we would like to set up with a little bit more tilt. And the reason for this is at impact, our spine will need to be tilted away from the target. So if you can imagine, if my spine gets very vertical, let's go to the top of the swing here. We'll fast forward to a little bit of later piece of the swing. If my spine is very vertical, as you see his, if I start to swing down into this ball, that's going to be a very vertical angle of attack. So for those of you that are you feel like you're chopping down on the ball, most likely you don't have enough spine tilt, or your spine is too vertical like this. Now he does some compensations to this in the downswing to make this all work out and to get a good angle of attack later in the swing. We're going to go over that more in the downswing stuff, but one thing you want to do is go ahead and preset your body in a position where you don't have to feel like you move around. So you'll see as he goes into the downswing, let's go to impact, see how he falls back to the right and he actually tilts his spine away from the target. Well, that's a good thing. You want to have some spine tilt away from the target, but ideally we'd like to go ahead and preset our body in a position to where our spine is already in that angle and we're not going to have to make any adjustments. So let's go ahead and take a look at another golfer who does this very well. Okay, now if we take a look at Charles here, he's displaying a perfect amount of axis tilt. And what we can do, we can draw a line from the top of the neck up at the shoulders where the neck and the shoulders meet, and then draw that down through the center of the belt buckle. And that line should hit just to the inside of your left knee. That's going to tell you that you have the perfect amount of axis tilt. And then throughout the entire backswing and the start of the downswing, you're going to be able to rotate around this single spine position instead of having to tilt the spine to the left and to the right to find that perfect position. So this should really help you to really increase your consistency and your swing plane. Okay, so we saw how Charles displayed the perfect amount of axis tilt, and again, as we compare that to Sergio, we can see that he doesn't have quite as much. That line's coming down between his knees here, and he has a little bit more vertical of a spine tilt. And that's one thing that necessarily not everybody always realizes, is that all PGA Tour players, they're not perfect. They have idiosyncrasies in their swing, they have different flaws in their swing, but they do know how to pair up those things with an adjustment later on in the swing to get the club delivered through the ball at a pretty good way, or pretty ideal way. So when we're learning, we have to think about what is ideal. What's the easiest way to do this move? So I know I can set up with not enough axis tilt and then have to lean back in my downswing to get a little bit more, which Sergio's proven that can work and it can do very well. But I realize that I'm starting to put some more stress on my lower back. I'm requiring more adjustments, and it requires a lot more practice and timing to learn how much to lean. If I lean too much, maybe I'll chunk the ball. If I don't lean enough, I'm going to be chopping down into the ball a little too much. So if I can get the ideal motion down, I know how to test it, I know how to practice it, I can learn a whole lot quicker and I can improve a whole lot faster. So that's the ideal way to go about it. That's how I would recommend all my students going about this, is to learn what the ideal motions are and work toward those, so you're working toward one common goal. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to click the like button, post your comments below. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have about Sergio Garcia's swing. The next video in this series is going to be the takeaway. He has a really good takeaway and does a couple of things that are crucial for distance, and he's a poster boy for how to do these correctly, so that'll be some really good help. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. Click the link that's popped up in the top of your screen, or if you're on a mobile device, click the link in the description to subscribe to this channel. And that way you'll be able to see all of the videos in this series, plus a lot more other videos that we have coming. Also, as a bonus to you guys, I'm going to attach the first few minutes, or a few seconds, probably 30 seconds or so, of the axis tilt video to get you started with the correct amount of axis tilt, so that you can build that into your swing and start to create some really solid fundamentals. If you want to watch that whole video, go ahead and click the link that's in the bottom right hand side of your screen, and you can watch that entire video when you sign up for your free membership. Good luck to you guys. It's been a real pleasure talking to you. Good luck to Sergio this year. I hope he wins a lot of tournaments and plays well. And I will see you guys later.
Another common setup problem that we're going to eradicate in the setup sequence that you're going to go through is golfers who don't have the proper amount of axis tilt. And all that is really is this fancy term for how much your spine is leaning away from the target when you're in your setup position. And a lot of people don't know how much they should have, and how much is too much and too little and all those things. And so we're going to make it really simple. To find out the amount of axis tilt that you need, it's not some special number that dictates a swing plane and all those things, although it affects swing plane. That's not the purpose of it.